thank you. Thank you for joining Thoughts from the Greenhouse. This is our monthly recording of where we provide tips and advice for pharma and biotech marketers. This is kind of behind the scenes advice from agency owners and co-founders. So with us today, we have the three co-founders of Brick City Greenhouse. We have Ashley Schofield, our creative lead. We have Renée Wills, our client lead, and we have Fred Kinch, our content lead, all co-founders. Welcome, everybody.
Nice to be here, Todd. Thanks.
So I think we have a really interesting topic here today. Knowing that we spent our entire careers working with pharma and biotech marketers, and we've seen many of them upgrade their careers along the way and have kind of been with them along the way. So I think it's very interesting to think, especially some of us who've even been on the client side, to think about how can a pharma marketer really build a relationship and leverage a relationship with their agency and the agency team. Obviously, agencies are made up of people to advance their own individual careers, right? So I think that's a topic we've heard through the grapevine and seen become very relevant to pharma marketers. So let's discuss it. How can they do that?
I like this topic because I was a pharmaceutical marketer as well as an agency person, so I kind of see it from both sides. Some of the best relationships have been true relationships. So like when I was on the marketing side or when I've been on the agency side, I can see like there's been more transactional relationships, but the ones that really yield a lot of results are where the teams come together and it's cohesive and there's trust, and the marketer like feels so comfortable with their agency and has that trust that it's like their safe place. An agency has a lot of like knowledge and technical things, and maybe a marketer is not so digital, or maybe a marketer doesn't know like the clinical data and understand like, the curve or whatever is being used in that particular thing. Like your agency is the safe place to like educate you or challenge you, or because you have like going around in the pharmaceutical hallways. When I was on the marketing side as a brand director, I always used to have this sort of thought of, and it wasn't so much my boss, because you interact with your boss a lot, it's your boss's boss, right? So like I always like had this thing in my head of, oh, what if I run into that person in the hallway? I need to be like prepared to say like how my brand is doing and what are the top 3 things I'm doing to drive sales, right? My agency should know those things, and my agency should be helping me solve those things. So if there's an issue that I'm facing in the marketplace, tapping into my agency is like critical to helping me drive success. And I think that the mistake that some marketers make is not pulling their agency in enough, sharing the market research, sharing the sales results, sharing what happened at the latest management meeting, and like having those agency partners like help problem solve. Because an agency is not just making creative and tactics. An agency is like full of a bunch of people that have a lot of marketing expertise. And like, so to me, like that's like super, super key, is really just pulling them in and expecting them to be my partner and allowing them to make me smarter.
I think just to build on that, I mean, like we had an example right before the holiday break where one of a marketer at a very large pharmaceutical company confided in us. He was just like, for this event, for him and his boss to look good to upper management, this particular activity, this particular meeting with all the collateral we were developing for it and all the pieces we were putting in place for them needed to go really smoothly to say, hey, like, that's going to make me and it's going to make my boss look really good to upper management. And we really appreciated that kind of transparency about the internal dynamics at that company. So we really understood what was really, everyone wants to create great pieces. We want to create good digital. We want to move share. But there's that undercurrent of also like, how do we help those individuals who we're interacting with also really shine in their careers? And if you, as a marketer, are really explicit with your agency around what do I need to achieve, what's going to make me look good, how am I going to be, what is my performance review outside of sales going to be good, to reflect well with my boss and my boss's boss and even higher ups in upper management and marketing. Like, just be very explicit with your agency. Let us know exactly what good is going to be like for you. And we'll make sure that we put extra efforts around that to make sure that, that is all that's really buttoned up. That should be something that you should tell all of your agency partners around, like what's going to be what is good going to be look like for your career, as well as what is good going to be like for the brand.
Yeah, I also think, helping your agency really understand what the political landscape is for you, your reality every day, helps them as well. Just so we know what's keeping your boss up at night, what's keeping you up at night. Those are all really important things.
And we'll hold all that in confidence. I mean, I think sometimes people are afraid of talking outside of the company unit around, like, maybe internal dynamics that are going on. But a good agency partner will keep that confidential and then leverage that to help you. And so I would not. We certainly we find ourselves to be more effective when clients confide in us along those lines. Within, we don't need to know all the dirt about everything, but we do as much of a picture of the landscape that you can give us, the better off that we're going to be at making sure that we're delivering, again, not just for your executional tactical goals and the things you accomplish over the course of the year, but in a manner in which is going to make you look good within the organization.
I had a client that would call me on his way home, periodically, once a week sometimes it was more, but it's like, it wasn't just the functional, yeah, we have the status meeting, or yeah, we have the concept. It was like sharing, hey, I had this meeting today and this is how it went, or like some idea, or we kick around ideas together, or I would say, I get the team, like it's like almost like having those hallway conversations, like creating more touch points, that so we can go beyond the tactics that we're creating. We can go beyond the projects that are on our plate, where we can kind of really embed ourselves in your business and help you meet your goals, because that's like where the real value really starts to come in. And that's also something that your agency partner will love. There's something that's sort of like one feeds the other, because the more that this relationship becomes tighter, the more your agency is going to want to do to help you thrive and do that extra like bit. So like the more you feed it, the more it grows.
Yeah,
and the more you
deeper
get back.
connection. Yeah, the deeper the connection, I think I agree with that. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I get these waves of pride when I see like a former client who was relatively junior, like, I don't know, 20 years ago, is now a CEO of a company. I just think that's the greatest thing. And I'm always like, I'd like to think we played a role in helping that happen, but it just makes me really proud to see people progress in their careers and help them build who they want to become, and that your agency partner can help you with that.
Your agency is a safe place, or at least it should be. That's like one of those things that you want from your agency. But if your agency is a safe place, like, come on, we've all been in a meeting where we didn't know what the heck, we didn't understand, like an acronym was thrown out there, or I don't know, there's some aspect of digital strategy that you just don't know. Like, we all have things that we can learn, and the world is rapidly changing, and your agency should be on top of some of the changes that are going on, and can educate you so that when you're talking to your boss, you can explain, hey, and your boss, like, you're not caught flat-footed. And I've even had a client like text me and say, hey, what does this mean? Like in the middle of a meeting.
During a meeting.
Right.
During
in a meeting, yeah. Right? So then I'm like, so I text them back, because like, it's like, we got your back. And it's so rewarding, just like Ash said.
I think that's a really important point, because like what marketers know their organizations really well. They know their brands really well. I think sometimes what agencies don't do a good enough job is about speaking about all of their collective experience around things, because like, at least on the Brick City side, we have launched literally hundreds of drugs How many drugs might a marketer launch, Renee, in his or her career? Like,
Oh, not any, because you're talking about the collective experience of the agency versus the
Yeah.
individual marketer. I mean, they some of them can launch 6 because they're serial launchers, but like it's not like you generally double digits because you're an individual and you spend a few years working on a brand and then you go on to the next one versus your agency with all of those different people have like so many different experiences that they can bring to the table.
Also, just especially for like startup companies, we have your agency also has a lot of purview across standard operating procedures that a lot of other companies. How does PRC? What are the mechanics of PRC? How are jobs? What's the job process for moving things and submissions into the system? How are things vetted from a medical and scientific point of view? What kinds of steering committees are in place, and what kind of upper management tactics are used to get things approved up through upper management? We've seen hundreds of different examples of that. So marketers should also not be afraid to just about the experience thing, to really probe their agencies around how do other people do it at other companies? What best practices can we learn from that? And you could end up bringing a lot of really new and fresh ideas to your organization. And again, stand out from the pack of other marketers who may just be used to the one way that your particular company is doing something at this moment.
So PRC is definitely an area where if you tap into your agency that they can give some advice. Of course, that's one of those things that we have to be really careful, and we would blind that because that's a proprietary thing that we wouldn't want to share between clients. But your agency's worked with a lot of different like PRC, MLR kind of teams. And so from an overall kind of perspective, they can share some general best practices, and that can maybe help guide maybe a better practice at your own company. So you never know. Talk to your agency because they, again, will partner with you in ways that maybe you wouldn't expect. We had a client like tap into our team more recently in the last year and help evaluate. We actually sort of like compared how other companies were handling, PRC, MLR, whatever you want to call it, and trying to bring some efficiencies into the process and showing in a very collaborative way, which we all know is really important because you don't want to create a combative relationship with your review team. But in a collaborative way, talking together about different ways to just like you said, Fred, look at things to bring some efficiencies because you got to believe that the reviewers themselves would like to do things in a more efficient way and get back a little of their lives as well. But that is something that we can help marketers do. We can also help marketers with things like convincing senior management that investing in something makes sense. Or
we do that. We do that regularly for a lot of our startup clients where dollars are really tight. The cash runway is like the be all end all, and so we do that on a regular basis. We help put together the case around particular spends and resourcing needs for particular projects, especially if they're launching their first product or they're very recently became a commercial organization or trying to make the evolution from an R&D organization to a commercial organization. So definitely have experience with that.
Yeah, it's almost like a mini pitch to their senior management, and you need a case to be built for some of these things.
Yeah, does the marketer have all the experience? Think about your agencies. They have a lot of experience in pitching, whereas a marketer,
Exactly.
You may not have all that experience.
Yeah.
Your agency partner, it feels like becomes sort of your curator. They run filters through, they're experiencing all of this relevant information, and they're able, if you just reach out to them and you're transparent, they're able to like filter and curate what's relevant to you and kind of help you package it. And I feel like that's a great summary of kind of what we said here. And then it's also, we brought up a good point. Like they're not only your brand partner and your company partner, but they're your personal partner. They know, look, we've seen it. These marketers will go to a different company. Agencies would love to follow you, And so if things like this happen, you've got a friend in your agency, and that's sort of the relationship you kind of want to have with them.
Yeah, that's the client you want to be, the one that attracts talent to you, people that want to follow you, people that you want to take with you, because it is a human relationship at the end of the day. I know it's a business and there's estimates, there's hours, there's all this stuff, but at the end of the day, we're human beings working together. And that is a powerful thing when people feel super connected and on the same page about what your fears are, what your aspirations are. We're here to do great work and make you look great at the same time.
Totally. Well, great. I think we have some great tips and advice here today for pharma marketers who are looking to leverage their agency to help their own personal careers. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you in the next episode.